Coming up on Vegas Nation Blitz, the only winless team in the NFL.
Nobody likes losing, you know what I mean? So I know it should hurt when we lose. We all feel so, we want to try to do better and put our best foot forward.
The Raiders have fallen to 0-3, but haven't lost hope.
If there's anything that's going to give us character as a team, these few weeks is something that's going to do that. I'm excited to see how we respond.
Raiders fast takes and smart coverage coming up right now on Vegas Nation Blitz.
Powered by the Las Vegas Review-Journal, this is Vegas Nation Blitz. Presented by D&R House of Diamonds, making luxury affordable. Located in the One Summerlin building in downtown Summerlin.
Welcome in, football fans, to this episode of Vegas Nation Blitz. Cassie Soto back at Raiders headquarters after yet another Raiders loss. Silly penalties, inefficiencies on third down, and just an overall lackluster performance from start to finish all played a role in the Raiders' 24-22 loss to the Titans on Sunday, dropping the silver and black to the dreaded 0-3 start. Let's see if we can get down to the bottom of the Raiders' issues, starting with our top stories brought to you by Capriati's. Make your game day extraordinary with Capriati's. Order now. Joining me now is Raiders beat writer Vinny Bonsignor. Vinny, it has been 3 weeks now where we are talking about a Raiders loss and how this team just can't figure out how to put 60 minutes of football together. Looking back now and hearing from players, hearing from the coaches, have you been able to pinpoint where these inconsistencies are coming from?
It's just a assortment of letdowns and meltdowns and guys not playing efficient football when they need to play efficient football. I'll tell you this, the poster boy for what it's supposed to look like is Mac Hollins. He has shown time and time again, whenever his number is called, whether it's as a pass catcher, a blocker, somebody on special teams made a spectacular special teams play in Tennessee, of being dialed in every time, every single play, every single rep. That's what it requires at this level to win. And too many times, too often, the Raiders have had players that have not been efficient, have not been as dialed in as they need to be, not just when their number is called, but just to do their job at the highest possible level. We see in the NFL the margin of error is razor thin. We see all these close games. I think it's a record breaker right now after 3 weeks how close games are. And in order to win those games, you have to be on top of things, play in and play out. And the Raiders simply have not done that. And it's very frustrating because they've shown when they are that they can be a really good football team.
All right, well, we know that, it was trending on Twitter. I know you were in Nashville. I was here back at home in Las Vegas, but it was all over Twitter that Raiders owner Mark Davis pulled Josh McDaniels aside after the loss, had a closed-door meeting with him. What do we think that means, and what do you think is happening there behind those closed doors?
Well, they always meet after games. I mean, coaches and owners, that's pretty typical. I also think that, Mark hasn't been not as around because of what was going on with the Aces, and rightfully so. He was paying attention to that and being there and being present when they won the championship. So maybe this was the first opportunity, especially after a game, to sit down and say, what's going on here? But to take that to suggest that, Josh McDaniels is on any kind of a hot seat, that's not the case. And you have to understand, I think, as fans, is that, number one, there's two trains going on at the same time right here. One is to win right now, which is extremely important, and they're trying to do that. But the other, with Josh McDaniels, Dave Ziegler, a whole new set of scouts and talent evaluators and directors of this and directors of that, they're trying to build a sustainable franchise right now that's going to, help accentuate long-term success, not just short-term success. And to pull the plug on that long-term, vision and long-term plan because you're not getting the short-term, results that you want is ludicrous. It's not going to happen. But after 3 games that you could justifiably argue a play here and a play there, they could easily be 2-1. You're not going to let that short-term, disappointment on some close losses make you pull the plug on an overall thing, and it's not going to happen.
Yeah, all right. Well, looking short term here, Vinny, what is it going to take? Loaded question, but what is it going to take for the Raiders to right the wrongs here?
I'm going to defer to Devontae Adams on this one, all right, who's kind of a sage, gentleman and somebody that I think is very wise. And what he keeps talking about is, look, you cannot get tired as a professional athlete of doing the right thing all the time. That needs to be the pattern. That needs to be the habit. If that message could ever get through, to them collectively, then good things are going to start happening.
Around the League, sponsored by South Point Sportsbook. Download the app at southpointsports.com. It's time for Around the League with Adam Hill and Heidi Fang. Right now, we're going to take a look at the Thursday night matchup between the Miami Dolphins, who are 3-0 right now. But will they be able to sustain that with Tua kind of struggling with injuries right now?
It's going to be tough. I think they put all their emotion, everything they had into beating Buffalo last week, and they got the job done somehow, some way. I think Buffalo had like 12 times more plays than the Dolphins did, it seemed like. But somehow the Dolphins won. But they had so much emotion in that game. Obviously, Tua comes out injured. Not sure if he's going to be able to go on Thursday, especially with that short turnaround. So Teddy Bridgewater is a big investment that they made in the offseason to be the backup. He could come in. We saw him have to come in a little bit on Sunday's game. I think they're very confident going forward with him. But this is going to be a tough matchup anyway. The short week, the injuries, the emotions that they poured in, all of that working against them as they play Cincinnati. And to me, the biggest story, Cincinnati's going with the all-white jerseys. They are awesome. I can't wait to see what they look like on the field, although Joe Burrows is probably going to turn very green because his offensive line is going to let him down and he's going to be on the turf a lot. But it should be fun to watch and see how those jerseys look on TV.
Let's also take a look at the 2-1 team at the AFC West. That's the Chiefs right now against the Buccaneers Sunday Night Football. What do you make of what the Chiefs are going to be able to do in this matchup? Will they maintain a top record in the AFC right now?
Yeah, it's going to be tough. Obviously, with the receivers issues on both sides, Tampa Bay, all kinds of trouble with their guys, although they get Mike Evans back from suspension. Chris Godwin close to coming back as well. Kansas City trying to figure out their situation with all their weapons around Mahomes. But it is a Super Bowl matchup from a couple years ago. Two of the best quarterbacks in the league, and I think it's going to be a very fun game to watch and very interesting to see who comes out of this at 3-1 and who falls back to 2-2 and really puts themselves in a tough spot going forward. With your injury report, I'm Adam Hill. Nate Hobbs and Hunter Renfrow, as expected, did not participate in practice on Wednesday. Both are still in concussion protocol. Andre James, however, did return to full participation. He's out of the non-contact jersey, clearing concussion protocol. Looks like he is full steam ahead for this week. One surprise miss of practice today was Foster Morrow, knee injury. He did not participate. We'll get further updates on Thursday on his status. Pretty much everyone else was able to practice at least in a limited fashion who's been injured. Colton Miller has an ankle injury. He was limited. Trayvon Merrick, the hip injury, still limited. See if he can return this week. Bilal Nichols, Denzel Perriman, both limited. Perriman back on the practice field. Looks like he's going to try to ramp it up to go back to return to action on Sunday. Rock Yassin, as expected, also limited with that knee injury.
DNR House of Diamonds is Las Vegas's elite private office jeweler, the perfect bridge between internet pricing and a traditional brick-and-mortar jewelry store. We specialize in loose diamonds, natural and lab-grown, engagement rings, fashion jewelry, custom design, and jewelry repairs. We operate by appointment in our beautiful offices in the One Summerlin building, downtown Summerlin. Our great relationships with the world's largest diamond wholesalers and our low overhead saves you hundreds, if not thousands, on your purchase.
With Capriotti's, game day is always extraordinary. Fuel your passion with our award-winning cheesesteaks, in-house oven-roasted turkey, and classic subs. Or create a fan frenzy with our catering trays that are perfect for any crew. At Capriotti's, we deliver extraordinary to you.
Now it's time for our weekly look at Raiders social media. The Raiders were on the road this weekend, but that didn't stop the excitement at Allegiant Stadium as Bad Bunny brought the world's hottest tour to Las Vegas for 2 nights. And as customary for those performing at the stadium, he got his own Raiders jersey in the locker room. Now on to some more Raiders drip. Josh Jacobs rocking a vintage wash Al Davis tee in Tennessee. The shirt made by Raiders Rain on IG. Raider Nation giving the account its props in the comments. Now the 0-3 Raiders are getting ready to take on division rival Denver Broncos, and this game might be the one to get things turned around for the Silver and Black. As Raider Post points out, the last time the Broncos beat the Raiders was when they were based in Oakland.
Cassie Soto back with you, and I am joined by Las Vegas Review-Journal sports columnist Ed Graney. Ed, luckily for me, I was here at home and was able to watch this game on my TV, but you were live and in person and had to watch this game firsthand. Can you tell me, from your point of view, what happened for the Raiders?
Well, a lot of things went wrong. First of all, they gave up 3 touchdowns to the Titans, who were awful offensively in the first 3 drives, right? I mean, you can't do that. You can't fall behind on the road in the NFL. That was the first problem. Other than that, defensively, they were not good in the first half. They were really good in the second half. They just haven't put together 60 minutes of good football, Cassie. And when you don't do that in the NFL, no matter who you're playing, you're going to be in trouble. So until they can do that, until they can get 60 minutes together and play well, I don't know how many games they can win this year.
Ed, how much longer can we talk about a Raiders loss before some big changes need to be made, and what would those changes even be?
I don't know. I mean, look, they've tinkered with the offensive line the whole year. They've just got to get to winning. It's like Max Crosby said, you just got to win one game. They've got to put it together for 60 minutes. I don't know if you can make major changes at this point. It's still real early in the season. They've got to get to the point where they're playing both sides of the ball. They're playing both, well on both sides of the ball for an entire game. And then I think they're going to start winning games. I don't think you contemplate major changes 3 games into the year, but I do think they'd like to settle on an offensive line. And let's be honest, the offensive line hasn't played really well, so I understand why they're trying to tinker it with and go back and forth with different names, but they've got to come to some solution up front, because that's where everything kind of goes forward with Derek Carr and that offense.
Well, this team needs to get a win sooner rather than later. Do you think that win comes at home against the Broncos this weekend?
Well, did you see the Broncos play Did you see the Broncos play the Niners? If that's the Bronco offense that comes into Allegiant Stadium, I'm going to say that the Raiders are going to win the game. Broncos are really good defensively. I don't think their schedule has been great, so we don't really know if they're that good defensively. But yeah, I mean, I think if that's the Broncos offense we're going to see, I think it makes sense that the Raiders are favored by 2.5. I think that number will climb to 3.5. I think the money's going to go towards the Raiders. And I do think at Allegiant Stadium, you and I will both be there. We'll actually see a win this Sunday. If not, then maybe the major changes come.
That'll do it for this week's episode of Vegas Nation Blitz. For all of your Raiders news, head on over to vegasnation.com and be sure to tune in to Vegas Nation Game Day bright and early on Saturday morning as we bring you a preview of the Raiders home matchup versus the Denver Broncos this Sunday. For our entire crew, I'm Cassie Soto. We'll see you soon.
Powered by the Las Vegas Review-Journal, this is Vegas Nation Blitz. Presented by D&R House of Diamonds, making luxury affordable. Located in the One Summerlin building in downtown Summerlin.